I'm in a pretty unique setting from where I normally am recording videos. I'm at the bottom of Cayuga Lake, which is one of the larger finger lakes in our area, and I'm collecting seed for a really beautiful native nitrogen-fixing, flower-producing shrub for my friend Eric and for our own nursery, and I'd like to talk about it. So here at the southern end of this very long finger lake, here are some beautiful shrubs of Amorpha fruticosa. That's this one right in front of me with all these seed heads on top, which is what I'm after. It's also known as river locust or blue false indigo bush. They're dormant right now, but they are booming with seeds. You can see every one of these little stalks has 100 plus seeds, and it's very easy to strip them. This is a seed that can be stored just like this, a little bit dry, and then in the spring you can either soak with warm water or you can simply sow it. What's crazy about this plant is if I were to just drop those seeds right there, the likelihood is they'd be able to come up from seed here. This is a very challenging context. We are in a flood position here. You can see when the lake comes up in really intense ways. This is all driftwood that's been packed in over time. And the river locust, the Amorpha fruticosa, is very competent in standing in wet conditions. It grows right along waterways all throughout the U.S., in northern, colder parts of the U.S. in particular. And we're interested in collecting seed for a bunch of reasons. One, we offer this plant through our nursery, and we've been offering seed as well. We do 500 counts of seed, but we generally put in more like 2,000 because it's so fast and easy to get these seeds. And because it's a great pioneer species, because it has such competence in extremely challenging conditions, we can plant these in standing water, we can plant these in really beat up raw conditions, and it's able to establish a shrub layer very, very competently. I've got my trusty leaf bag with me, into which I am stripping seeds as convenient or snipping as I go, and I'll lay this on a screen just to let it dry out. It rained this morning, but it's not a very fussy seed to collect, and you can really, within a half hour, if you're not filming a video about it, you can probably collect 10,000, 20,000 seeds in about a half hour in a place like this. So amazing, beautiful flower in the mid-summer that the native bees and non-native bees really adore. Nitrogen fixation, and then occupying the shrub layer with a transition plan in place where you're not simply just having river locust growing, but you plant perhaps river locust with some other wet tolerant tree or shrub. Maybe it's a apple or a pear co-planted with river locust. You can see some pretty rugged cuts here from the water lapping at all this, the sand, and yet here is this shrub occupying the space. It looks like somebody went through really roughly and cut it a few times. That's actually pretty stimulating to this plant. It doesn't mind, and it is holding the soil together beautifully. Now, if there was a tree in here that could be our next level of succession, so maybe there's hickory or someone else in the midst of all this, then as these plants are being cut, they could feed the next level of succession and facilitate that. It's a phenomenally useful pioneering plant and really capable of holding things together in rough context. I'm starting to lose light and the wind is really picking up. I don't know how this is even recording. But I've got about 15 pounds of seed, which is many, many tens of thousands, enough to share with my dear friend Eric for some of his agroforestry projects. He'll be using them as direct sown pioneering woody layers for a tree cropping system on his Black Creek Farm and Nursery channel. I'm sure he'll share more notes, so check him out. I'll link to that here. But for now, I'll just keep collecting seed until I run out of light. And river locust, Amorpha fruticosa, really lovely native plant, beautiful flowers, really competent soil holding pioneering species for cold climates and really wet conditions.